You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we got some new details coming out about the tragic deaths of these Kansas City Chiefs fans up in Kansas City, frozen to death, and there's starting to be a what feels like a lot of holes and a lot of stories. Supposedly, the one guy where he lived, he works from home, didn't know they were out in his backyard, I guess. A lot of this does not make sense, as you can imagine. The families are wanting answers. And so now we got a couple of other stories because we found out there was actually a fifth person around this situation, and that just came out. And we also got the fact that it seems like maybe drugs are involved here. So this is nuts. This is one of the crazier stories I can remember in a while between either of these sports channels that we own. Fifth friend at Jordan Willis's house on night 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans died, says he did text him the next day as he hires a criminal defense attorney. It's getting interesting. I don't know if I blame him for doing that. Like, in this case, yeah, you might want to retain an attorney because things are looking very strange in all this. It doesn't pass the sniff test, and that's part of the problem here. The fifth friend who was at Jordan Willis's home on the night 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans were last seen alive has hired a defense attorney who has disputed parts of Willis's account of what happened. On January 9, the bodies of David Harrington, 37, Ricky Johnson, 38, and Clayton McGinney, 36, were found in his backyard of Willis's home in Kansas City, Missouri. They had been there since January 7, when the 3 men visited Willis to watch the Chiefs play the Chargers, along with the as-yet unnamed fifth friend. That friend told Fox 4 Kansas City, which did not name him, that when he left the house at midnight, all of the men were still alive. The fifth man stressed that it's absolutely not true that he was the last person to see the 3 men alive, the outlet reported. He also has now lawyered up, hiring a fierce criminal defense attorney, Andrew Talgi. Talgi said his client arrived at Willis's house at 7 p.m. and they were all hanging out until midnight. The 4 other men were watching Jeopardy when he left. My God. Yeesh. The lawyer also said that on Tuesday, the day after the fifth man texted Jordan Willis, he sent this after Clayton McGinney's fiance and from Ricky Johnson's mother had got in touch asking about their loved ones. This contradicts what Willis's attorney, Picarinio, said on multiple occasions. He said his client only received messages on Facebook Messenger, not text messages or calls. That's odd. Kansas City Police Department has said there is no evidence of any criminal activity or foul play. Cops classified the ordeal as a death investigation, not a homicide. Willis has not been charged. For 2 days, the families of the victims say they visited Willis's home, called him, and sent him Facebook messages asking where they were. He did not respond. Well, that leads us over to this. New York Post, drugs a possibility in grisly Kansas City Chiefs freezing deaths outside home, a doctor says. A doctor says it's, quote, plausible that 3 Chiefs fans who tragically died in their backyard on a freezing Kansas City night have been exposed to some kind of drug contributing to their bizarre demise. Is it possible they were all went to the backyard and then one of them said, hey, I got this, blah, and they passed it among the 3 of them, and then, it's over. I'm just throwing that out there. Nobody knows at this point. Quote, it's one thing for a person to tragically end up in a snowdrift after leaving a bar, but it's a completely different story for 3 people to end up dead sitting on somebody's back porch after a party. Dr. Caleb Alexander, an epidemiologist with Johns Hopkins University, told the Post, "The fact that there's 3 individuals really heightens the curiosity and the tragedy of the case, and I think it increases the likelihood that something more than moderate amounts of alcohol were in play here." I tend to agree. That's crazy. That's crazy. Police found their body after McGinney's fiance requested a welfare check when he never returned home that Sunday, and Willis failed to respond to inquiries and people calling at his door. When police arrived, Willis reportedly answered with a wine glass in his hand and claimed he had no idea his friends were dead in the backyard. His attorney said his client had been sleeping near a loud fan and wearing noise-canceling headphones for 2 days as families frantically tried to reach him and locate them. That is really strange, too. Willis cooperated with the police from the moment they became involved, and they have not said he is under any suspicion. The deaths are not suspicious, nor is foul play suspected. I have no idea how this is not considered suspicious, but okay. Alexander, who specializes in drug use and safety, said circumstances look like the result of a dangerous combination of opioid-like drugs and alcohol to which they could have been, quote, either intentionally or unintentionally exposed. Okay, I'm just going to throw this out. One of the guys pulls something out. They decide to partake among the 3 of them. And how about fentanyl is somewhere in the mix here? I'm speculating. That's all I'm doing. But we know in this country right now that people are like getting exposed to fentanyl and boom, within just minutes or seconds, they're dead. And if all 3 of them are exposed, I'm just throwing that out. Any of these alcohol acts synergistically with many prescription drugs to increase their potency and their potential to cause sedation and other adverse effects. One of the many tragedies of the opioid epidemic is that all too often people overdose, and it can happen easily in groups as well as when people are solo, Alexander said, pointing out the tragedy as recent as last week when musician Jose Vasquez died of a fentanyl overdose alongside his wife and friend at their L.A. home. See what I mean? Illicit opioids like fentanyl could be on the table in this Kansas City case. Very interesting. And, of course, there were speculations, hey, they froze to death, etc. This entire case is just bizarre. It's tragic. I mean, nobody ever... This reminds me, back in the day, routinely, for maybe a decade or so, me and about 3 or 4 buddies would get together, and we would get together usually 2 to 3 times a month, UFC pay-per-view, WWE pay-per-view, and then, of course, there was a time when we were even a little bit more than that, where it was like SmackDown Friday nights or Thursday night, I think, back then, and WWE Raw, and then whatever the pay-per-views were. So sometimes it would be like 2 to 3 get-togethers a week, and, of course, everybody's drinking, and you hear something like this, and you're like, damn, that could have, in theory, have been all of us back in the day getting together, and we did get together during the playoffs of the NFL to watch these games. It's absolutely bizarre. When I saw this and they said all 3 froze to death, I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Yet nobody would have said, hey, shit, man, I'm going in. It's cold. Or I'm leaving. Let's see you. I don't know. We're definitely going to watch this between this channel and the other channel. John had a video scheduled, so I decided to do it on this channel. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.